Hello and welcome to Dr. Fluffy. Today we're going to take another look at Mr. Potato Head. Now there were talks about bearing and vegan gains coming into a debate, but vegan gains didn't seem really keen to it, but now he's doing the flex thing again, where he tells one thing to his audience and then reality doesn't really conform with what he's saying, right? Now, in their first exchange, of course, Bering easily debunked vegan gains, but of course, he keeps spouting the same thing to his brainwashed cult, and they all follow through. And now he's trying to convince his audience that Bering chickened out of the debate because he could not match his great intellect. So let's take a look at that video, right?
Murder is a crime where a person kills another person without justification. Killing an animal for consumption isn't murder.
So recently, me and Bering had a bit of a back and forth on YouTube. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Bering is a retarded Australian guy who thought he could refute the ideological principles of veganism and give sound justification for needlessly causing the suffering and death of animals.
Well, he didn't try. He managed to prove you that. Because following the food chain is not needless murder of animals. We are omnivores, we need to eat animals to survive. That's part of nature. Now, through technology and through the advances in nutrition and supplementation, now you're able to do a vegan diet relatively easily and be relatively healthy. That doesn't mean we stop being omnivores and we stop being in a necessity to eat animals. We still do. And that's why people eat them.
And he actually challenged me to a debate. Instead of engaging in a logical debate, you have to throw out red herrings, logical fallacies, and now subtle personal attacks.
That is hilarious from a person whose videos are mostly personal attacks against the people that he's talking to. He basically has no arguments, never. And most of the time he's just wishing cancer on people, telling people that he's going to kill them. I don't think you have morals to talk vegan gains.
I offered to have a logical debate with him. As far as I'm aware, we still intend to have that debate. You're welcome to join us if you like.
Well, after I and Jack Green emailed him trying to set up this debate, he hasn't gotten back to either of us. It's been almost a week now, and I haven't heard anything. And if you look at Bering's Twitter posts, it's pretty clear that he's trying to weasel out of this debate. Are there any nutritionists in my audience? I could use your brains on a live stream.
How is that trying to weasel out? Is trying to get someone specialist to give an impartial opinion on the subject. That actually seems like he's doing an effort to push the debate forward. And by the way, Bering one time asked me to do a live stream before I actually started YouTube. And normally I send him an email and he would take a long time to answer, and the cunt hasn't answered yet. I'm kidding, Bering, but really? Come on, at least give me come on, I don't have time right now.
Aight, nigga, you bring your best boys, and I'll bring my best boys. I ain't afraid of scrapping with you, nigga. We're gonna settle this shit gangster style, bitch. I'm gonna straight up blast y'all fools.
How can you deny that level of credibility? Now, are you going to trust doctors and people who actually do science? Or are you going to trust a guy all dressed up like a gangster with a gun that looks like a moron?
So after I made my video criticizing Bering then made his own response video, and then again I made a video responding to that, and I intellectually ass-raped him. It wasn't hard to do because not only is he retarded, but it's very easy to defend the position that it's wrong to needlessly kill animals.
And if you close your eyes, does it feel like you're not retarded at all? No, of course you didn't ass-rape anybody. And again, I'm not against the vegan diet, but you are doing a logical fallacy because it's not needless murder of animals. It's killing animals to consume as your natural diet entails that we can have a conversation on changing the animal farming industry that needs change, and now people overconsume meat because a lot of the health problems comes from overconsumption of certain nutrients, of certain food types. You want the closest thing to a perfect diet? Look at the Japanese. You know, the people that live longer than everybody else? They still consume meat and fish. They just consume less of it. They consume a lot of raw fish that is better than cooked fish. They consume a lot of vegetables. They have a more balanced diet, a much more balanced diet than the vegan diet.
And after I made that second response video on March the 18th, he immediately changed his tune. He went from mocking me on his Twitter, making a post called #VeganGainSteakNight, to saying, "Oh, this isn't about winning a debate. I would like to have a better understanding of the subject."
He can mock you personally without changing his tune. He's not changing his tune at all. Bering is always like that. He's open to people changing his mind. He's not close-minded like you. He's not biased like you. He actually always wanted before you came on, to understand the subject. And the subject is very simple actually, and you're wrong, Vegan Gains. On it. Period. But Bering is coming from a neutral position. Of course, you don't like neutral positions because you're a radical cultist.
Oh, what's the matter, nigga? You going soft on me? You was acting all hard before, but once you realize you're stepping up to a real nigga, you start shriveling up like a little bitch. I cook fools like you every day, nigga. You think this is a game? I'll blast your ass, fool.
The guy's good. You know, this, like, you can't argue. And that becomes, you got a badass over here. I don't know how.
And instead of just admitting that he was wrong, he started backtracking and flat out denying what he said in his video. I have no desire to prove that the vegan diet is inferior. Never did. That's funny because repeatedly throughout your video, you made the argument that meat is essential for cognitive superiority.
Now this is a straw man, and the funny part is that his clip that he's going to show is going to prove that he's straw manning.
We've got bigger brains and therefore more brain power than most animals. But big brains use lots of energy. Did you know that the human brain uses about 20% of your body's energy at rest? At least double that of most other animals. And do you know how we've been getting that energy for the last 2.5 million years? By eating other animals.
Now here Bering's not talking about the vegan diet, he's talking about our evolution, how we develop our brains. And it's true, this has been proven to be true for a long time. It's not that meat only works for energy, because it was essential because in Africa and the way we developed in the tribal times of humans, it was the meat that allowed us to have enough energy output to develop our brains. But animal products are a lot more important in terms of protein than actually energy right now. But yes, that energy that we got from animal products were essential during the evolution of the brain. That's a fact.
But that still does not justify us unnecessarily slaughtering them for their flesh.
Yes, it does, because if we'd never taken up that habit, you wouldn't be sitting here making this YouTube video. It's more than likely you'd be some hairy-looking ape motherfucker sitting there in the wild eating fruit and sticks and leaves for 9 hours a day just to get enough energy to power your tiny fucking brain.
Again, he's talking about evolution. He's talking about how we developed. He's not comparing it right now to the vegan diet. Because right now, the vegan diet has tons of supplements to compensate what, for example, our ancestors could not compensate. And by the way, a lot of those supplements come from animals. So yeah, even vegans are not completely vegans. So fuck you.
Yo, eating meat ain't making you hard, bitch. You're such a bitch, can't even step up to a real nigga like me. Talking all this shit. Eating meat made our brains is bigger. Well, you know what? Let's see what your brains look like when I blast them all over the sidewalk, motherfucker.
I think your example only proves how meat is essential to keep the brain function perfect. Or at least sane.
I'm not even looking to debate Vegan Gains on most of the stuff he's talking about. I don't hold opposing views on a lot of it. Yeah, Bering, it's
probably because most people understand how bad the farming industry is, and they don't disagree with you on that. And they don't disagree with you on the impact that a lot of it has in the environment. They disagree with you when it comes to veganism being healthier. They disagree with you when you say that everybody going vegan is better for the environment, because it's not, and ecology has proven that it's not. They disagree with you when you try to force everybody to go vegan, and then when you go whole Hitler on people.
Seems like you're trying to chicken out of the debate and come as close as possible to admitting that you were wrong without actually having to admit you're wrong. So either email me back or announce it publicly that you have no interest in doing the debate, or email me the fuck back and give me a time when you'd be available to do the debate. Stop being a fucking pussy, either admit you were wrong, or do the debate and allow me to publicly embarrass you.
This kind of reminds me of the, again, Lex thing, where he talks shit about the guy's wife and kids and things like that, and then showed up to a convention like where there were security guards and he couldn't get his ass kicked, and pretended then for his audience that he was all badass and Lex was a coward. And Lex then invited him for a sporting event in a gym with a referee and things that would be fair. And then, of course, he cowered out because that's Vegan Gains. He's actually a coward. All this was manipulation of his audience, because Vegan Gains knows he's wrong. Vegan Gains knows that he's wrong in most things he says. He's only manipulating vegans for the views, because I don't even believe he's really vegan. There were tons of people exposing like old videos of him like eating hamburgers and really all these fatty grease things. And it was not very before he started doing the vegan videos things. And he said like he was vegan for a lot of years, and those videos were in those years, so he lied when he became vegan. He's lying to you now. I do hope Baring does the debate. You can bring, for example, Mr. Rapsion on, because he already took Vegan Gains down once. There are a lot of ton of people that can easily bring Vegan Gains down, because he has no idea what he's talking about. He's ignorant. He's ignorant, and he plays on his audience ignorance to push this. And again, I'm not bashing the vegan diet. I'm bashing Vegan Gains, because he spreads misinformation. He attacks people without a reason. And I think is the example of the sociopathy and terrible behavior of a really terrible sect of the vegan community. In the end, don't be a Vegan Gains. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, tell me what you think about this subject, subscribe if you haven't, follow me on Twitter, because that's the quickest way to know when I'll upload a video, because I don't have right now a current video schedule. This was Dr. Fluffy, trying to bring some sanity to the world. In the end of the day, stay